Say test case writing, interview questions and answers. Say in software testing, 4 important tasks. Several tasks are there, but 4 important tasks. What are the 4 important tasks in software testing? Understanding requirements, understanding test requirements. Next, writing test cases. Third one, executing test cases. Fourth one, reporting defects. Understanding requirements, writing test cases, executing test cases, and reporting defects if we find any deviation from expected. Okay, come to mainstream. Just a minute. What is test case? What is test case? A set of input values, execution preconditions, expected results, and execution post conditions. Next, steps for execution developed for a particular objective or test condition, such as to exercise a particular program path, or to verify compliance with a specific requirement. Next, who prepare test cases? This depends on company as well as project. Suppose a large scale project, medium scale, small scale, like in general, for system testing level, testers are team members, independent testers. For system testing level, independent testers prepare test cases under the guidance of test lead. Next, for example, in unit testing level, developers prepare unit test cases. Okay. Next, give a sample test case template. Say test case template may vary from one company to another and one project to another. What we are going to discuss is standard template. Test case template may vary from one company to another, sometimes one project to another, but purpose same. Okay, sample test case template. What are the important fields? First field, test case ID, a unique number or name. Second field, test case name of the test case or description of the test case. Next, third one, test suite ID, unique name or number. Next, fourth one, precondition status before test case execution. Next, steps for executing the test case. For example, launch the browser, navigate to so and so web page, enter username, enter password, click sign in button, like steps for executing the test case. Next field, post condition status after test case execution. Next, expected result. See, testers only prepare expected result as per requirements. Next, actual results. Before test execution, this field is blank. After test execution or while test execution only we can get this one. Next, test result. Test results also blank. After test execution only we can fill this field, okay, by comparing expected result with the actual result. Test results, pass or fail like. Next, remarks, comments, etc. See, test case ID, test case name, test suite ID, precondition, steps for execution, post condition, expected result, actual result, test results, and remarks. Next, observe note 1. We prepare this test case template in Excel sheet. Suppose in our company we are using any test tool for test management, example ALM, quality center. ALM provides test case template. In that tool only we can enter the data. Otherwise, suppose if you follow manual process using Excel sheet, you can prepare this template and write test cases one by one. Next, note 2. We already discussed test case template may vary from one company to another and sometimes one project to another. Next, in the above template, actual results and test results fields can be filled after test execution or while test execution. Remaining fields in test designing phase only. Okay. Next, what is test data? Test data. Data that exists before a test is executed and that affects or is affected by the component or system under test. Next, what is the relation between test case and test data? We use test data as input for executing test cases. We use test data as input for executing test cases. Next, how to collect test data? Say, why I am using this term collecting test data instead of preparing test data or writing test data, like say some test data we means testers. Some test data we prepare, some test data we collect from developers. For example, in our application home page, suppose ours is web application. In our application home page, total 209 objects or elements, some 150 links, 20 edit boxes, etc. If you want to check that all elements or objects are available or not, first we need to collect that items, what is that one? Elements count from developers. Developers only know that count. Okay. Some test data we prepare. For example, phone number object takes 10-digit numeric value as per test requirement. For that we can prepare test data. Suppose in our application home page, 209 objects or you can say elements available. We need to collect the data from developers. Next, some test data we collect from customers and other resources also. Suppose in our application some cities information available. That cities information depends on customers' business that we need to collect from customers. So final conclusion, collecting test data. Some test data we means testers prepare. Some test data we collect from developers. Some test data we collect from customers and other resources. Next, is test data mandatory for every test case? Is test data mandatory for every test case? No. Test data is not mandatory for every test case, only for a few test cases. For example, observe two test cases are there. One is log into the application. For that, enter username, enter password, click default button. For this test case, test data required. What is the test data? What is the input data? Username, password. Next, another test case. Verify the object or element existence in the home page. For example, our application is google.com. In that google.com, as per our requirement, we need to check whether the Gmail link, Gmail is another application, but product from Google only, Google product only. We need to check whether the Gmail link available or not in Google homepage. For the test case, no test data required, only navigation and only verification. Okay. Is test data mandatory for every test case? No. Test data is not mandatory for every test case, only for a few test cases. Next, what is test procedure? A document specifying a sequence of actions for the execution of a test, also known as test script or manual test script. Next, what are database test cases? Database test cases are for testing the backend database of application. Database test cases for verifying data integrity, data manipulations, additions, deletions, next updations, etc. Next, data comparisons and data retrieval. Sorry, data retrieval operations. For database testing, we use SQL commands. We can conduct database testing manually or by using any automation tool like Selenium, UFT, formerly QTP, etc. But with the help of SQL commands. Okay. Next, how we derive test cases? We derive test cases from test scenarios. Test scenarios derived from requirements. Observe the sequence. Requirements. Next, test scenarios or outlines. Next, test cases. We derive test cases from test scenarios. Test scenarios derived from requirements. Next, another method, we can derive test cases from use cases if use cases available for our project. Okay. Next, what is use case? A sequence of transactions in a dialogue. A sequence of transactions in a dialogue between an actor means user, between an actor and a component or system with a tangible result, where an actor can be a user or anything that can exchange information with the system. Okay. Next, what is the difference between use case and test case? Say, use case is a business scenario or user scenario to develop and test. Use case is a business scenario or user scenario. We derive test cases from use cases. Okay. Next, what is positive test case? Positive test case is intended for verifying a component or system's behavior using valid inputs. Suppose whether the system means application under test, where the system is accepting valid inputs or not. Next, what is negative testing? Negative test case. Say, positive testing is not only sufficient, positive testing is not sufficient for our testing. Positive and negative testing only sufficient for software applications. Suppose for valid inputs my application responding fine. What about handling invalid inputs? It has to accept valid inputs and prevent invalid inputs. That is the perfect testing, complete testing, positive and negative testing. Okay. What is negative test case? Negative test case is intended for verifying a component or system's behavior using invalid inputs. Next, what is test suite? Series of test cases is called test suite or test batch or test set. Next, what is test environment? An environment containing hardware, instrumentation, if required simulators, software tools, and other support elements needed to conduct a test. Next, last one, what is test condition? An item or event of a component or system that could be verified by one or more test cases. An item or event of a component or system that could be verified by one or more test cases. Example, a function, transaction, or a feature, or a quality attribute. Thank you.